Hello everyone, welcome along to another video. John here, and my guitar of course. Now today what we're going to do is have a look at how you can make your guitar talk, and I did another video about this some time ago. I'll put a link up above, but Paul wrote to me and he said, could you do another video explaining kind of how you do it in a bit more detail. So I thought I would do that because it's a good idea. I haven't really seen any other videos on YouTube talking about this, but it's a very cool effect, this. I think you can have some fun with this. What we're going to talk about today is how you can work this stuff out. We'll talk about syllables and, you know, the difference between playing something and kind of speaking it on the guitar. Have a look at phrasing, giving your guitar a kind of character, because it doesn't have to be exactly the same as what you're saying. You want to make it a little bit quirky. And then finally we'll talk about sound. And what kind of effects you can use. So first of all, when you think about speaking and singing, really it's not so different on the guitar. I know it might sound like a crazy difference between making your guitar speak and singing, but it's really not, because if you think of a melody, say, now I've got my wah wah effect on here, so this is going to sound a bit weird, but anyway, but if you think of, you know, Love Me Tender, so you're really saying that, aren't you? You know, but you're singing it. Love me tender, love me true. Sorry for the bad singing, but you can see that really you are kind of speaking that, really, but because it's done in a musical way, which lends itself to a musical instrument, it sounds like that. The problem is that when we speak, it's very jerky. It doesn't flow like an instrument does. So the guitar is great for this because you can bend strings and make it sound more like you know, human voice than perhaps another instrument could. So first of all, when you do this, you want to work out what you want to say. All right, so let's take that for an example. Work out what you want to say. Work out what you want to say. Okay, now it doesn't have to be exactly the same when you're playing these licks. We'll talk about character in a minute. But if I play these notes, once you've worked them out, and I'm using kind of E minor pentatonic here for my little guitar's voice, so you've obviously got to work this out. Try and pick a sentence, go to anything you like, but go maybe to the news, you know, whatever news channel you look at, copy and paste a sentence and try and work that out on the guitar. Now there's no easy way to do that. You've just got to sit there and work it out, you know, but it does help your ear. You get better and better at it. So here's work out what you want to say. Work out what you want to say. Okay, now if I play that, you can do that. It doesn't really sound like speaking though, does it? So if I employ a bit of phrasing, yeah, you could say. So you're trying to give your guitar a little character there, and I'm pushing notes. Work out. So I'm kind of pushing every note slightly, like curling every note. So work out what you want. Now that note is twice. Now I'm not really teaching this because it's up to you to work out what you want to talk, but I'm just showing you how you can mess with the phrasing. So if I just played, not very talkative, is it? But if I do, okay, so yeah, work out what you want to say that way. So there, I've got that. Now really that's that way. So again, I'm not bending that note. And I do a little bend, a slide off, I'm sorry. So that could be it becomes. So work out what you want to say. That way it becomes easier. So you're trying not to play the notes in a very boring fashion, because for this style it's just not going to work. Work out what you want to say. That way it becomes easier. Okay, now that's going to sound really boring. Let me see if I can put a bit of kind of character in this. And it's very jerky, the phrasing, you know, just like our voices would be. You don't really hold on to notes a long time, you know, with this style. So there we go. Now, obviously, when you're thinking about creating something in this manner, you're thinking about syllables. So the rhythm is very important, because if you have something with one syllable, obviously it can be just one note. But that thing I did at the beginning, where I said hello, it's got two syllables, hasn't it? Hello, hello, but I bend that last one. Hello. So you've got to think about the rhythm as well when you're doing this. Just think how many syllables in the words and match that up with what you're saying. So the notes are matching up, and the syllables are matching up too. So now, when I say give your guitar a character, what I mean by that is you've got the choice of where you want the voice to be. So if we go back to that little first phrase we just did before. So work out what you want to say. Now you could play it there, or you might want to give it a lower voice. So you could have a kind of a different voice down there. So you can muck about. You could also use the whammy bar. Now, I don't have the whammy bar on this guitar because it just goes out of tune all the time. So, but that's one little option you can do. You can also think about this if you wanted to have a little conversation. Now, I haven't really set up my sound for this, but you could have like a little conversation kind of between two little alien guitars, where you could have something like let's think, sorry, and then an answer, and then so you can kind of have a little back and forwards between these two guitar parts. I've heard Steve Vai do that, and I can't remember what record he did that in, but that's a very cool thing to do. You could give one voice a lower kind of sound, which strangely enough leads us into sound. Now, when you're talking about sound, I suppose the sound that lends itself very well to this is a wah, doesn't it? It's got that kind of human quality to it. So I'm plugged into bias effects, which is not through an amp, it's through a computer amp, and I've just added an auto wah onto this sound, so you get that that kind of sound, so which sounds really good. But I did muck about. There's a few other ones you might want to try, like an Octavia. Sounds pretty good for this kind of stuff too. So a wah, an Octavia, and the other one, which is quite good, is a harmonizer. They always sound quite good, especially if you're doing this thing where you have a high voice. And then a low voice. some, sorry, I went wrong there, but anyway, that sounds pretty good. So have a little go with all those things, but really doing this technique, you just got to find out what you want to say. As I say, that's the main thing, and then work it out. I'm using this E minor scale here. It doesn't have to be the same as your voice, because you're trying to give your guitar a character. So work out what you want to say, work it out. That might take some time, but it'll improve your ear, and then from there try and listen to how many syllables it is in the words. Use the phrasing, use bends, use slides to achieve your words. Don't play it plain. It just doesn't work. And then from there, just think about what sound you'd like to use, So in essence, I'm afraid to say that with this technique, there's really no easy way to do it, because you've got to work out what you want to make the guitar say, then you've got to make it say it, and that takes time. But it's a lot of fun to do this. I like to do this kind of every day. I just sit there for like an hour or so and see if I can work things out. It really does improve your ear. So I hope that was useful to you. Have some fun with that, and you can have a look at the other video I did, which I'll put a link to below and above. So have some fun with that. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next video.